Welcome back to Rockstar 101. His name is Brandon. He's the DJ.
His name is Shim. He is the Rockstar. Class is in session. We are finally back. Schedule is getting a little bit crazy here. I know my kid is back in school, and you said that your kid is back in school. Is it all virtual learning where you're at?
No. They're back in school. They're back in school. We didn't. Well, my kid's in preschool now, so we didn't have to deal with the virtual learning stuff. Our virtual learning was like they said, start reading her more ABCs books and 1, 2, 3's books, and that's her learning amongst everything else. No, she went back 2 weeks ago, so this is her 3rd week back.
Okay, because ours is, she's just started a couple days ago. She's 3 days in now, and it's 100% virtual. It starts at 8:15 in the morning. It goes till 3:15 in the afternoon. They have a morning break, a lunch break, and then I believe an afternoon break. But other than that, man, they're in front of that screen learning. And it's 3rd grade. So I understand there's some parents who are frustrated just because they have younger kids, and it's just like a kindergarten teacher, reading them a book.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get what you're saying, that where there's no interaction there, and that kind of defeats the point. But at least with my kid who's now in 3rd grade, there's more instructions.
How much do you need to watch her? How much do you need to?
She's by herself.
She just sits there by herself. So I think one of the main things would be, well, it's kind of a double-edged sword now that I think about it. There's no way for the teacher to reprimand the kid if the kid's not focusing or if they're passing notes or anything. But at the same time, there's no kids in the classroom to distract each other. You're kind of void of distractions unless...
But you're also banking on the kid being able for their attention to be kept on this screen.
Yeah, 6 hours is a long...
My kid got caught singing in the middle of class. She thought she was muted. She's not. And she started singing. And she tells us that it wasn't like the teacher wasn't instructing. They were doing something where they were organizing something or they were getting something together. And she just decided it was time to start singing.
Right.
And all of a sudden the teacher goes, "Who is singing?" And you can see her like, I guess, looking.
Yeah. And
so the kid got busted for that. So we told her, and we've warned her. We were like, "Look, you're going to have to be able to pay attention here. We can't sit behind you 7 hours a day. I got to work. Mommy's got to work. So we got to get through this together." And she knows it. And she's going to make mistakes. She's a kid. That's to be expected. But it's definitely been a vastly different experience these first few days.
Yeah, I can't even imagine the poor teachers and what they're dealing with. The thing that's interesting is that people, you have to kind of you really do need to get used to how many significant differences there are in doing any form of work over Zoom, virtually, any whether it's Twitch, whether it's radio stuff, anything where you're on this new piece of technology. When I'm doing the VIP sessions, I do the VIP sessions every Saturday night. And they're in a Zoom session, and they get read, Don and Darlene read them a little script that says, don't record the session because it's not permitted. Make sure you keep your mic off unless Shim unmutes you, because otherwise you got 5 people there talking and interrupting each other, and it's a hot mess. But when people forget, but people don't mean to, but they'll be there, and they'll go unmute, and then when I finish talking to them, I say, "Okay, cool, go ahead and mute yourself. I'm going to play the next song," and I don't mute them because I'm playing guitar. And then if they just happen to forget or they do it wrong, I'll be in the middle of a song, really beautiful, intimate song, and then suddenly you hear, "Brandon, get away from the stove! It's this stew cooking, you burn yourself!" And it'll be like, and I'll be like, "Shit!" And the whole place just goes, "What?" And I'll go, "Hey, Christy, you forgot to turn your mic off, bub." And she's like, "Oh, sorry, I just went to," and then suddenly I just was telling my son click, and then they keep talking even though they've muted it because you're just not used to it.
I need to mute it.
Yeah. So it's
difficult for everybody.
No, it's everyone's got a thing, but the reason that I bring it up is because did you hear about this fucking guy? There's a Reddit. I want to do a Reddit on. I want you to look this up as well while we're live because I love this story.
What am I looking up?
It was either Google Play or the Amazon one. What's the Amazon one called where you talk into it and it starts doing stuff? Amazon.
Alexa.
Alexa. There was an ad campaign for something that was mail order. And in the ad, it actually, if your Alexa was on and it could hear the TV, it would place the ad was structured. They fucked the system so hard. they actually made it that it was like, no, and you can get this new product on Alexa anytime you want. You can go and buy this new program. It's all you have to do is say Alexa, and then instruct Alexa that you would like to purchase this product now, and it would actually Alexa would take the things. And literally like tens of thousands of people the following week had this shit show up at their doorstep because Alexa had ordered it and said confirm. So I want you to read. I don't know the exact details, but I want you to check it out in a minute when I finish telling this thing. But for people on Zoom, I fucking I don't care. I'm a guy in a band. I adjust my balls when I'm sitting there doing podcasts and stuff. And sometimes if there's a camera on you and you forget, it's people see you adjust your balls. And there's been a couple of people that are like, hey, you comfy there? And I'm like, oh, I forgot. Now that's obviously not a big infraction, but the flip side is there was a guy who was he was a news anchor who was remote broadcasting from London or something. And this woman walked across the back of his living room naked. In the middle of a live broadcast, guy's married,
and it wasn't his wife.
No, it wasn't his wife. It was just some girl that was on location wherever he was, and he got fired, and his marriage was destroyed, all because this stupid idiot. Number one, don't have an affair. Number two, don't tell. Just like every mistake you could have made, you went and made it, and then let the whole world see it at once.
Yep.
It's just fucking poetry, but it's like it really does let you know who people are and who people aren't. I think that's the thing that's really coming to light over the last 6 months, and it's going to come to light a lot more, is that it separates the boys from the men in every set of circumstances. You know, like for radio, you're doing radio, there might be someone who works really good at radio, you put a camera on them, and for some reason they've got this stage fright camera. I got into radio because I fucking hate cameras. Well, now you got to have a camera on you because it's different. What? No, you just lost your job.
We had to get used to that pretty quick because we got our live stream now. So if anybody ever tunes in to our Facebook live stream, it's on.
Why aren't you doing it on Twitch? Why aren't you doing your station on Twitch? Why
Company
Facebook?
Won't do it. Company will not allow it.
Why? What's the fucking difference?
That's a whole, man, I'm telling you, so the company only gives a crap about the numbers of certain things that can bring us revenue. Right. And they don't consider Twitch a revenue stream. And
they don't consider Twitch a revenue stream. You make more money on Twitch.
We have tried, and every single time we bring it up, they just immediately like, we don't want to hear about it. Because we originally were on YouTube, and then we would keep getting pinged for copyright, where if we're playing a clip of a song, I think the first time we really got busted was we were playing clips of Beatles songs. Right. Then once you play more than 5-10 seconds, boom, it's going down. And then you get to it was like 90 days, I think is what you're busted for. So you're not on YouTube for 90 days. So we were like, well, we need to have some sort of a live stream. What are we going to do? So we jumped over to Facebook, and that's where we've been this entire time. We still don't make any money off of Facebook. There's no advertising going for Facebook.
Why do you do it?
You're preaching to the choir, man.
Okay. What is their reason? Why do they tell you that they want to live stream at all if they're not making any money from it? Why are they doing it?
No, they do want to make money. They're trying to get the sales staff to sell the Facebook stream, and just so we can put like ads, which is against Facebook's policy. You're not like, we've put logos. Actually, I take it back. We have made some money on it, I guess, because but it was just kind of like an extra that was thrown in. We slap a logo on the screen, like on the bottom, or before the show, or whatever the case may be. So we'll do that. But that's technically against Facebook's policy anyway.
Yeah, Facebook.
So it's a pain in the ass. If we could do Twitch, I would do Twitch. And you know what? Now that we're talking about this, I might bring it up again and see if we can get a different response, because something else we ran into was about a year ago. We were talking about our podcast. We have had control of our podcast. We edit it. We put it up. We had this really convoluted system. And then when you and I started using Anchor, I mentioned like, hey, we should switch to Anchor because it covers everything. Like anchor.fm/Rockstar101. If you're listening to this through another forum, if you want to go there, it shows you where we broadcast in, like any of the other platforms. You can also become a donator to the show, or you can be a subscriber to the show. And all they ever responded with was, well, we don't care. We don't want to hear anything about your podcast. We don't want to hear about your podcast. If you're doing a podcast, fine. We just don't want to hear about it. That was their exact response.
Wow.
like being dicks about it.
So it's just
now,
it's just painfully corporate. It's just so corporate.
Oh wait,
okay.
Oh my God, you have no idea how corporate this got. So fast forward to a couple of months ago,
right?
Corporate decides, hey, you know what? We have some pretty good podcasts that we own because they're on our morning shows. We should now control them. So what they did is they came in and they said, whatever you're using to upload your podcasts, you now need to delete. You need to get rid of it so you can use our system to upload the podcast and go from there. The system was broken. It didn't work. Yep. The podcast was down for multiple weeks, all because corporate had to get their goddamn hands in on it. And I was beyond pissed. It got to the point where Buzz, the host of the show, he was like, well, let's just not do the podcast anymore if they're going to be like that. Yeah. And I was like, well, no, I've busted my ass to get this podcast going because it's a pain in the ass to try to do it, because we had to rig up a system so that we have one specific computer only recording the microphones and the telephone coming in.
I know.
We can't use any of the music.
Yeah.
I mean, we go in and we add copyright-free music after the fact.
Which is just such a fucking hassle.
A pain in the ass. But this rolls very nicely
Why didn't
into
you
the
get me to make like why didn't you get me to put together a few pieces of music that you can use as intro, outro music that's whitelisted so it doesn't get taken down in any of your stuff?
Well, because here the thought process here is we're not going to alter the way that we do the show specifically for the podcast or for the live stream. We have hundreds of thousands of listeners on the FM dial. We have thousands of listeners on the podcast and the Facebook live stream. So we're not going to change how we do things for this smaller audience when what we're doing is still working. Like, so what we go in, the way that we upload it, because we have to use sound clips and stuff anyway. Right. Like if we're playing a like when both Korn and Nickelback recently covered Devil Went Down to Georgia. We got to play that when we're talking about it because people are going to want to hear it. Right. So that would get us pinged anyway. So the system's working. We have a computer that is specifically designed. All it does is record the microphones and the telephone. That is it.
So then let me ask you this. When you do that, when you're playing 3.5 minutes of a song on air, what do you put in the
We don't play the full thing. We don't play the full thing. Like we don't play full songs anymore. Like that never happens. But there are clips, and it's one of two things. Either that segment doesn't make the podcast because it would just sound too weird and it's got to be cut because it's too audio heavy. Right. Or, I mean, we do explain this on the air. Like, hey, if you hear dead air or if you hear something where like it just sounds a little off, it's because we couldn't use the clip. Right. And so Joanna, she's the one who edits the podcast. She takes copyright-free music, so that there's a nice smooth transition between segments, and just kind of will like piece together, like delete a lot of that dead air, so you're not sitting there for 20 seconds while I'm playing like a sports clip or something like that. But so as I was saying,
coming back to this story,
actually one thing. Well, true, because that was one thing. We did get a question about whitelisting music. Yeah. Somebody asked us that on Twitter, and that kind of answers that, I guess, because for us, we aren't able to play anything unless we have the rights to it. On the FM dial, we pay for it. Yeah. Like that's how it works. Yeah. We pay a lot of money to be able to play this music on the FM dial. When it comes to internet streaming, the company does not want to pay for it. You technically could. Yeah. They do have those licenses, but the company doesn't want to do it. So
if you were streaming to as many people as was listening on the radio, but how many people are watching the Facebook live stream at any given time?
Our average is 140 to 150.
Okay, so it's really like it's not worth. It's not even worth like it's barely worth fucking doing when you have the fucking morning show doing what it does. Like it's a juggernaut compared to Facebook Live. Like until you get to the point where you're actually like, if it's there to make money, it's making pennies on the dollar compared to what the station's bringing in from just the fucking radio show.
Well, yeah, but there's a few different reasons that we want to keep it up. One is that we do things that, I mean, it'll spike when we're doing something in the studio and we're like, hey, go to the Facebook live stream to go watch this. Porn stars always shoot the goddamn views up to like 600 something people, like instantly. Yeah. Or if we're doing like a stunt, we have a mystery box where, a person can't see inside it and they got to feel around and they got to guess what it is. It could be something dangerous. It could be something gross. Right. Those are the times where you'll see those numbers really spike. But we want to have that ability to interact with people because one thing we've noticed is even though everybody has a phone in their pocket at this point, it's difficult to get people to call the show. You really have to land on a topic that really gets people going in order for them to call in. And we want that interaction on the phone, or at least some sort of an interaction with people. And that Facebook provides that with the Facebook chat, where they're able to very easily just kind of type in on either their laptop or their phone and let us know kind of what they're thinking about a specific
noticed a
topic
lot of
that we're talking about.
people like texting. They really like to text their questions and email. No one wants to talk on the phone. No one wants to get their voice on the phone. I think it has to do with accountability. Because if they shoot off their text and
it's easy to hide.
Oh, it's so easy to hide. If you respond back with something that's not what they planned, they can just ghost you. Whereas if you're on the phone with them, they have to go, the worst thing best thing they can do is I'm going through a tunnel.
My God, we had so a couple things. We had one guy, this dude was a troll. Like he would jump in, and we have multiple trolls actually. But unless you do something egregious, I'm not going to ban you from the page. Right. But there's been people that I've had to ban from the page because it's like, dude, you're just here to be a dick.
Yeah.
And that's not worth our time. So you can go away now. It's a fake Facebook profile. It's not a picture of you. You know, it's bullshit. Like just go away, dude. And the other one is we got a phone call last week of somebody who called up, and we were talking about the COVID-19 numbers and how are they accurate or are they not accurate? And this guy called up to say, well, what about those deaths that aren't actually caused by COVID-19? Like there was a skydiver. He jumped out of a plane. His parachute didn't deploy, and he crash landed and he died, but they counted it as a COVID-19 death. And so we're like, okay, if this is a thing, let us know. Like, you know, what's your source on this? Yeah. He couldn't tell us a source. So we Googled it, and it was a fake news story. It was from a satirical website. And so we started to poke him about that, and the guy started stammering. That was the reason people don't call, because this dude was out of his element. Like, he was worked up to the point that whatever we were saying, he didn't agree with. Yeah.
And he picked the wrong fucking example.
Yeah. Oh man, and he just got eaten alive on all aspects, on the show, in the Facebook chat from people calling this guy an idiot. Like the dude was out of his element. Is basically what happened.
You're out of your element, Donnie. Shut the fuck up.
There you go. Good reference.
Dude, I watched that again this week. I forgot what a fucking genius piece of work that is.
Great movie.
It is such an amazing movie. I watched it. Dude. Yeah, I watched it when I watched The Big Lebowski the first time when I was like 13 or 14, so I just was like, yeah, this is a great movie, cool. But when you actually watch it with some life experience, you're like, this is just the most well-structured, bizarre acid trip of a fucking movie. Like, the dude, I understand now why people follow the gospel of the dude. He is the Taoist overlord. He is the ultimate Taoist. He's a genius. I love it.
And that rug really pieced that room together.
It really brought the room together.
It did, didn't it? All right, so this is a good transition, though, here, because we're talking about all this stuff, because we did get busted on Facebook. One of the reasons we're not on YouTube anymore is we upload videos to our YouTube channel. And if we get busted again, YouTube isn't very clear on why you get busted or how long you're going to be busted for. Right. Until after the fact.
Can I stop you because I have a point on this? Yeah. Do you or does anyone at your station know? Are they aware of the fact that if you live stream and you play copywritten music, you don't get taken down until after the stream's finished? Oh
no, you do. You get taken down.
No, but they don't ping for playing copywritten music. They don't mute you and take you down on Twitch. On Twitch, they don't take you down.
Oh no! That I did know, and that is something that is going to be in my favor when I bring it up to them.
Yeah, I would say that's. Yeah, go ahead.
What I'm about to get into is getting pinged on Facebook, which happens to us all the time.
Yeah.
Which leads to the conversation that we were having over text messages about the greatest vocalist of all time.
Yes.
What the hell did you mean by your text?
Me. I'm the greatest.
You're the greatest vocalist.
Oh, yeah, that was the joke. That was the gag. For anyone that's not paying attention, but that wasn't there, he was like, "Oh, we should totally talk about the greatest vocalist of all time." And I was like, "Yeah, I've already got your answer." And he thought that I really had like a long form answer of Freddie Mercury versus Axl Rose. No, the gag is, yeah, it's me. You got me. I'm the greatest. But he kept asking. He was like, "Wait, no, seriously, wait, what are you talking about? Do you think it's Freddie Mercury? Because I think there are other people who think the other people different."
my brain went. And here's the thing.
The
This is
most
why
important
jokes
thing.
like that.
The most important thing is to understand that it never fucking entered your mind that maybe I'm even close.
No. It did. No, it did. But here's why jokes like that don't necessarily land on me, because my brain looks at all the different ways you could have meant it. That's why
Right.
sarcasm is difficult for me to understand it unless you're really like the tone of your voice is
Right.
selling this sarcasm
Right.
like that. And I can't read that in a text. So when
Right.
I saw that, because I know that we have talked about Freddie Mercury before. And I'm like, well, does he mean Freddie? Shit. And then I'm thinking about it and I'm like, shit. So I talked about this on the air. Because I've been hosting the show this week because Buzz is out. So I'm hosting.
Right.
So as I'm sitting there, I'm like, God, what do I do, man? So I texted you back, and then you just responded with ... Yeah. I'm like, God. I'm like, dude, just answer the question, man. Help me out here. Like, realize that. Like, I'm not playing stupid. I legitimately don't know, because my brain is thinking, well, he could mean this, he could mean this, he could mean this, he could mean this. I don't know which.
But you know me. So what? You know me. Like,
but see that, but that's something like, look, I'm a very intelligent person. That is something where I am an idiot.
right. When it comes to reading people.
But it depends. Like sometimes
You know what? In your
there's other
defense,
aspects.
I didn't use an emoji. I should have used an emoji. If I had used an emoji.
If you used an emoji, I would have been able to pick it. Now, if you had said that to me, I would have been able to probably pick up on, oh yeah, he's being sarcastic. He's talking about himself.
Yeah.
But in the text, I'm like, because in the back of my brain, I'm immediately thinking, well, we have talked about Freddie Mercury being the greatest of all time.
Okay, hold on. Let's just do this, okay? So I'm going to read these out, okay?
Do it.
Okay. My upgraded RAM arrives today for the new laptop. It should be rock and roll. We can record on Wednesday. Hold on a second. Oh, I'm putting together a huge bracket of vocalists and putting up polls so we can go through tournament style to see who people think is the best vocalist of all time. To which I replied, we already know who the best vocalist is. To which he replied a long time afterwards, and who is that? To which I replied, ... To which he replied, I'm not familiar with ... Is that a secret vocalist? To which I replied, go fuck yourself. To which he replied, are you saying it's Freddie Mercury? Because I think you'd be surprised. And it just kept going on like that. I'm like, if you don't get, go fuck yourself.
Fucking answer, man.
Explain the fucking answer, man. You're not making any sense. It's just dots and incomplete sentences and aggressive go fuck yourselves at 3 a.m. What the fuck, man?
Well, see, so the reason they were so long is that you had responded. I was already in bed by the time you had responded with the one. So it was the following morning, and I sat there. I'm like, looking at my phone.
You should have just written back like you are not. You should have just written back. You are not the greatest vocalist of all time. Just in case you're wondering.
I felt like that'd be being a dick,
dude.
But now I know next time I'll do that.
How long have we been doing this? Yeah,
I know.
You've been a dick about so many other things. So anyway, so we have this list now. Yes.
Because one of the things I started with, this is an idea that I've had rolling around in my brain for a couple of years now, but it's a massive undertaking at this point, and the reason it got kicked off was I was flipping around YouTube and I landed on a lot of those isolated vocals.
Yeah.
That you can get now, where you can listen to a song. And like I was doing it with Chris Cornell, like especially right after he passed away, and Freddie Mercury. Oh my God. If you want just absolute velvet vocals, just go listen to Somebody to Love.
Right.
Those isolated vocals, man. Holy crap. So I started this list, and I want to create like a big tournament with brackets, and to go and I want to have people be able to vote on our website to say whether or not they like whoever they think should win, and then whoever wins, they move on to the next one like you do in a tournament. Yeah. So I had a preliminary list done that had about 40-something lead singers in it, and I thought I was doing pretty good. It was not even close to the amount that I needed. I now have a list of 92 lead singers at this point.
Okay. And you're going to peg them off against each other on the radio?
I got to figure – well, I mean, it's going to be online mostly. It's going to be just those matchups. I got to figure out how I'm going to place them. Like, because the one matchup I already put up was Freddie Mercury versus Robert Plant. And that was just a sample to see how, like –
Yeah.
if this would actually take off, is it going to be worth my time to do this?
Yeah, yeah. Did it explode?
I mean, it blew up pretty good. Like when we were talking about it on the air, the Facebook chat was just constant people and people who I didn't recognize because we see consistently the same people chatting in the Facebook chat, probably like you do on Twitch and stuff like that. You see the familiar faces where with this conversation, it's people I've never seen before, bringing like the heat with, well, it's Robert Plant, no, it's this, or you should have picked this guy, or wrote about this guy, or play this guy. And what I was doing is I was playing those isolated vocals. We got pinged for that on Facebook.
Wow. How did they pick that up?
It somehow did. And it may have been one of the songs where it's just like the main vocals anyway. But yeah, we got busted for that. And so what Facebook does is they take down the video. And so we have to restart the stream every time that happens. It's a pain in the ass, but it gives me a talking point to corporate to be like, hey, let us jump over to Twitch.
If you've only got 150 people, you're gonna get at least 50% of those people moving over to Twitch because they love the show, right? If you got people, the rest of them will come over, but you could make more money off half the people that are streaming on Twitch just by saying, hey, chances are most of you guys have an Amazon subscription, right? They got Amazon Prime, and they're like, yeah. And chances are you've never fucking been to Twitch because you're working class people who have jobs and shit, and you're not video game kids, right? So, like, by the way, just log in with your Amazon account, and you can support the station stream. And suddenly, you've just made more money that month than you probably have the entire time you've been on Facebook because people are donating $2.50 per month for free, courtesy of Amazon. I guarantee you, if you were to tell them, number one, you don't get pinged, and number two, people can choose to support the stream for free and Amazon pays for it, they won't know that. No one fucking seems to know that you can use your Amazon Prime for Twitch Prime. They'll say, oh, so it's kind of like free money, which it fucking is. That's what got me over to Twitch. I was like, oh, I know my fans. There's a lot of my fans who are now in their 30s that have kids that are stuck at home with jobs that they got Netflix and Amazon Prime that aren't on Twitch, that don't know that there's free money sitting there. They can just give it to me for doing what I'm doing anyway. So that's like that's the thing that pushes people over the edge normally. And Amazon's not fucking stupid. They did it specifically to be like, look, you've already got your Amazon Prime account. Why don't you just go over there and spend some free money? And everyone wants free money right now. So like, but Amazon owns Twitch, so you're giving it back to Amazon. It's fucking.
Hey, you know what? I'm cool with it, man. And I'm glad that you're bringing this back up because I might approach them again just to be like, hey, we should be over on Twitch. And the goal here is to do Rockstar 101, consistently live on Twitch, where we have our own topics and people can engage in the conversation. Of course, it'll still be uploaded as a podcast and everything like that, but it'll give a little bit more interaction. We just, because I had a lot of messages over the past week of people asking me what's going on with Rockstar 101. Where's Rockstar 101? There hasn't been an episode uploaded in a week and a half. What are you guys doing?
That's awesome.
So thankfully I've been able to tell them like, hey, it's just schedules.
Yeah,
it's so awkward working. Like,
that's great.
We've been trying to set up an interview with The Who over in Mongolia, and that has not been the easiest thing on the planet, especially since they don't speak English.
The Who?
I
thought you meant The Who.
You meant like Roger.
The Hugh. You mean you're talking about the Hugh, not the Who.
The Hugh. Okay, the Hugh, the singers.
Oh no, I know who you're talking about now. I don't know anything about the band. Do they speak English well enough to do an interview, or do they have a translator?
Nope, it's got to be a translator, and that's one of the reasons why I've been really sketchy on it, because to do that over a phone line, where there's probably going to be at least some sort of a delay, and it's. I don't know. I'm waiting till Buzz gets back from vacation. I'll let him say yay or nay. So anyway, back to this vocalist thing.
Yes.
This is something I'm looking to get up here at some point soon.
That's what she said.
I got to figure out how I'm because I have the main artists that we play on our station, the active rock people. It dips into classic rock a little bit. I even went into like Joe Strummer from the Clash, Joey Ramone from the Ramones, and on down the line. But I'm not sure how to place them. That's where I think I'm struggling the most.
Well, I think you need to pin them up against each other in their format. Like you need to be genre specific for the beginning, and then let people decide, okay, who's the best in that genre, and then you start to put them up against each other in cross genre. So like Sex Pistols.
I don't know if I have enough to do that for each genre because I don't know. It's
of course you do. You're not talking like really deep specific genre. You're just talking like the Sex Pistols and the Clash and the Ramones. They go in their own little pile, and Iggy Pop, right? And then you've got like David Bowie would be with probably like, you know, Stones and Beatles and Queen and like super pop 60s and 70s era. You know, and then you'd have like Stevie Wonder versus Michael Jackson. You'd have a Motown section. So you just got to kind of create little.
Not doing a Motown section.
Why not, dude? Fucking
no, trust me.
Motown singers. Because it's rock and roll. Yeah.
And you need. Here's the thing. You also need to realize is that us being a rock station, an active rock station, I already got shit from Kevin about possibly putting Steve Perry in there from Journey because we got a lot of people who chimed in on the first day when I was bringing this up, where they were like, "You should really put Steve Perry up against Freddie Mercury because Steve Perry's got amazing vocals."
Right.
I mentioned that to Kevin, and he was like, "I had better not ever see Steve Perry win anything on our website."
Wow, really?
But that's how protective he is about the brand. It doesn't have anything to do with Steve Perry. It has to do with the brand of the station.
Yeah.
And what songs do we play? We play Queen.
Right.
We don't play Journey.
Well, then I think it's simple. You just have to go through. You're kind of bound by the station then. Whoever the station plays, that's your choices, and then you just go, and then you just put them in with like maybe you do it by decade. You know, 70s is the 70s, 60s is the 60s, fucking 80s. You know, just do it by decade. No one can argue with that. Who's the best singer of the 70s? Who's the best rock vocalist of the 80s? And then once you've got the top 5, because you've got 60s all the way up to top 6, I guess, if you go through 2010. But you really, it kind of taps out around like 2000. Once you get to 2000, I mean, who's a great singer that emerged after 2000 who can compete with fucking Freddie Mercury and Axl Rose and, you know, all that shit? There's no one.
Well, I mean, there's some. Well,
the best you'd have is like
there's a guy that used to sing for Sick Puppies.
Fuck off. Okay, just no, but seriously, like you'd have like the original singer. Why am I Adam from 3 Days Grace? He'd probably be
Adam
up
Gontier?
there. He'd probably be like, all right.
Well, he's with Asking Alexandria now, so he'd be on there.
He's with
shit. I don't have him. There's 93. I meant to put him on here because I had him. And I don't even think I had the current lead singer. I think I got distracted when I was supposed to be putting them on this list. It was him and the current lead singer of 3 Days Grace. So I'm at 94.
There you go.
But I mean, I even extended it out to Slayer. But other than that, it's really band. Like we don't play Slayer. We do play Danzig. So Glenn Danzig technically would make it in. We play Rush. But here's the thing: we don't play Non-Point. So like Elias probably wouldn't be in there.
Well, then look. But here's the thing: when you do it, you get to fucking do the "Let Jesus Take the Wheel" vibe. Be like, look, I had to pick people who the station plays. No disrespect to your music, but if the station doesn't play it, then you're not. No one's gonna get butthurt if it's like that. Yo, it's a KLAQ promotion. We're picking people we play. That's it.
I could always just
otherwise
pass the buck
you're gonna
on to somebody else.
Yeah, because if someone else comes in and if they say like, you know, I can't believe you put Freddie Mercury up against Axl Rose. You'd be like, why not? With the station plays both of them, and they're fucking some of the best vocalists of the 80s. What do you want?
Well, if you know how brackets work, they would be what's called a number 1 seed.
Number 1 seed.
So do you know how they do like the March Madness tournament over here? Okay, so you
Not
basically
exactly.
have 4 regions of the tournament, and so the point is to make it to the final 4, meaning you won your bracket. If you win your bracket, you're one of the final 4 teams in the tournament. So that's how this would be: is you'd have 4 different kind of regions.
Right.
It wouldn't really technically be regions, but and so in each one you have what's called a number 1 seed. Right. And so Freddie Mercury would be one. I think Axl Rose would probably be one.
Right.
After that, I'm really not 100% sure who I would be looking at for number 1 seeds per se.
But wouldn't the brackets be dictated by how the voting goes down? Like if you do like greatest vocalists of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and noughties, right? So you got your 5
Naughties?
brackets. Noughties, yeah, the noughties. Naught. 0. Naught.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's an Aussie thing. But yeah, we call them anything after 2000 is now. It's not at the 90s.
I like
it's the
that
noughties
because it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think in the I think in the States we don't even know what the hell to call it.
No, you call it like the 2000s, and then it's like, well, is it because if
is it
anything
2000
after
to 2010?
Yeah.
Is it 2000 to now? Because technically we're 10 years past that.
Yeah, we call it. And actually, they will probably call it the 2020s. It's the noughties and the 2010s. Anything after 2010, and then now that we're in 2020, in the 2020s, or we'll call it the 20s. It'll probably just go straight to the 20s because there's no fucking music that anyone's discussing that came from the original 20s.
Well, I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting thing to kind of piece together. Some other ones I think that should do really well are guys like Chris Cornell. I think that dude is gonna do amazing
in
something like this. But so it'll eventually get up there, and we'll figure out.
I mean, the thing that's really cool is that you can get to you can create your silos and be like, all right, who's the best hard rock singer versus pop rock singer versus ballad singer? Like if you put Chris Cornell versus Axl Rose, for example, that kind of have the same vibe-ish, right? Compared to Freddie Mercury, who's a different vibe. And then you go, well, I think everyone would agree Chris Cornell will sing the fuck out of a ballad better than Axl Rose. But Axl might crush a fucking high screamy song on certain songs better than Chris Cornell. So but then you get really fucking finicky. You're getting really aggro where you're like, dude, you need to listen to fucking, have you not heard Bad Motorfinger? Have you not heard it? I mean, what's the matter with you?
Well, this is the thing where for me, I want to keep it open to interpretation, but I want to limit it to their vocals. You'll notice I'm not saying lead singer. I'm also not saying frontman. Because the perfect example is a guy like David Lee Roth. Great frontman, not the best vocalist.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was some isolated vocals. Have you ever heard his isolated vocals from Running with the Devil?
No.
Oh, shit. Look when we're done here, look it up. Because he's like...
Is that what he sounds like?
You think I'm joking. Go listen to that.
Wow.
But on that note, we're about
we're over.
Here. We got to wrap this thing
up,
buddy.
Over. We're at 36 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's good. So we'll get this thing wrapped up here. Hit up the socials really quick. Again, Shim's Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Hollywood Rebellion. He took out the.
Yeah.
So remember that.
To make it easier for
Shim
people.
Moore. It is at Shim Moore, SHIMMOORE. That's where you can find him over on Twitter. You can find him over on his Facebook page as well, which is now just Shim. That's SHIM, but he is certified. He's got the check.
I'm officially me.
I am not, unfortunately, but you can find me over on Reddit and Instagram with the handle The Real Brandalorian. If you ever have a topic or a subject or a question, anything you want answered on Rockstar 101, feel free to reach out to us. I did have some other things that I wanted to get to, but we can get to that on the next episode. I'll tease this one. I fear I have ruined Disneyland for my child.
Yes.
So we're going to get to that in the next episode of Rockstar 101. But on that note, his name is Shim. He is the Rockstar.
His name is Brandon. He is the DJ.
Class dismissed.